All right. So YouTube is up. We get Facebook going. Really should be more prepared than this. How about that? We're doing. All right. Facebook is up, and you've got a Kita button there. Happy to see a Kita button. Oh, look at that baby. Let's get my professional lighting going. Okay. I think we're good. And I'm early. Who knew? Who knew? Baby. We don't have windows down in front for them to look out, and they're too mischievous to leave the bedrooms open. So when they get a chance to look out the front windows, she right now anyway, only because the other two don't know. They enjoy it, and then she cries and wants to play with everyone. So anywho, so we're just a couple minutes early, so I'm gonna chill out for a second, get my head together. All right, no more goofing off. Time to work. Who's with me? Hey, Cheryl. Good morning. I don't. You're not in Florida, are you? Where did you go? So the weather is way better. Way better than it was last week. Holy moly, it was cold. So today being the last day of the year. Morning, Sheila. Morning, you guys. I thought we would do a normal practice, very basic, very something you've done a million times, right? With the opportunity to look at your practice in the moment, right? So this time of year, everyone's looking back. Oh, what did I do in 2022? And was it good? Was it bad? Should I do it again? I, didn't follow through with my New Year's resolutions, blah, 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 right? But if we start to reflect in the moment, right, we don't have to look back and go, right? Or I didn't really do what I wanted to do. So if you're being present, right, you are constantly making those decisions that align with what you really mean to do. Because a lot of times the reason we get off on the things that we want to do, that the routines that we want, the get up every morning and practice kind of thing, it's just because we're not paying attention to it, right? There are other things that take our attention away from the things that we really want to do. So if we're present and focused, and of course, being present and focused every moment of your day, of the rest of your life is a big ask. It really is. I mean, be serious. But if we practice it on our mat, it becomes easier to live it, right? And again, not every moment, and everyone's going to, I hate to use the word fail at something, but you're not going to get exactly necessarily what you intended, right? And a lot of times, don't forget too that it's your intention, right? You can't control the outcome, right? So you have a practice where every day you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to practice yoga for, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And then you get sick, you get a cold. Right? You can't control that. So some things are our own decisions in the moment, whether it's what you wanted to do or not. And then other things are just out of your control. So you accept them both. But that's sort of the intention for today, is to be truly present in every pose, right? Not worrying about what comes next, not worrying about whether I used to be able to do this better, right? Or this used to be easier or whatever. Keeping all the garbage out and just being truly present in your practice. That's the goal all the time with your yoga practice. But, life and stuff, right? So we do the best we can, and that's what we're going to go with. But you, because I know you'll be distracting, have to leave. So come on. Out. Go by Daddy. Come on. Oh. I got the face. See ya. Good girl. All right. Love that dog. So we're going to start seated. I don't know. I still haven't come up with how I want to make this look just yet, but eventually. I'll get there eventually, right? This super professional thing I do here. So align the heels to the groin as much as you can. Make sure you feel upright on your pelvis. We won't be seated long, but it's always important, no matter how long you're in a place. Right? And then lifting the pelvic floor, pull the lower belly into the bump. Sit tall through your sides. Relax those shoulders down and back. Lift the crown of your head to the ceiling. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Closing your eyes and just being here. Notice the alignment in your body. Noticing your breath. And being aware of these things without thinking too much about them. Remember, leaving that kind of judgy thing behind. Where am I? Intentionally begin to expand into your breath. Finding that full, just beyond comfortable breath. Maintaining that as we flow through the rest of class. So let's extend the arms out to the sides here. With an inhale, we're going to stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. And then exhale and bring them back down. We'll do it again. And one more time. Coming back to the top. Exhaling the right hand back to the mat and giving yourself a little tip. Keep the pelvis level. Take a nice big breath in. And on the next inhale, bring yourself back up to center. And we'll exhale the left hand. Big full breath here. Inhaling to come back to center. And then one more time, take it over to the right. Use the breath here. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, sink into that stretch a little deeper. And then back up to center. Over to the left side. up to the middle. And exhale, release down. Let's bring the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the back. Give yourself an easy little twist. Being aware of where your pelvis is, whether the belly's still working. See if you can relax your shoulders. Yeah, closing your eyes or maybe looking over that left shoulder. And then releasing that back to the center. Let's take the second side. Same idea, easy this one. Then we'll release it back to the middle again. Over to that left side. So right hand on the knee, left hand behind the back. Press into the floor, sit out a little extra tall. Pulling against the knee, rotating the belly button, the side ribs, the shoulder. Looking over the shoulder. Being aware of your breath. Noticing how this is different than the other. Noticing, not judging. And then unwinding that, come back to the middle. And we'll take the second side. So using the arms, using the breath, winding around from the bottom to the top. Let's come on back to center here. Take the hands to the knees. Inhale here, pull your shoulder blades together on your back and lift your chest toward the ceiling. And then exhale, round through your spine. Think forehead to belly button. And then in and out, flowing with your breath. Become aware of those tighter spots and see if you can breathe into them. Opening up a little bit deeper. Let's do one more flow. And then find your center, sitting nice and tall, re-engaging the belly if you'd lost it. And then keep that as you mindfully move into an all fours position. So be aware, like even these transition places, those are the places that we joke about as you get older, you get hurt doing dumb stuff, right? Like getting out of bed. But if you're moving with intention, ideally, that doesn't happen, right? So from tabletop into kneeling plank. And find your place, right? Assess where your hands are. Are they under your shoulders? How are your wrists? Four corners engaged. Where are your shoulders? Even a neutral on the back, are you sagging through? Keeping the belly engaged so that the pelvis doesn't sag. If you wanted to take a full plank here, you absolutely can. We are going to hold a little bit and play with it some, so maybe not just yet, you decide. We're going to take a little dip here. So keeping the chest open, bring the elbows in line with the ribs. We're going to stop and hover for just a moment. Squeeze in, and then press back up, and go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. Let's do it again. So inhale, shift forward, come into plank. Exhale, drop into that little dip. Take a nice big breath here. Check in with your alignment. And then press back up and sit back. Let's do that once more. So come forward. Exhale, bend into those elbows. Hold here for a breath. And then press back up and sit back. Once more here, come forward. We're going to dip. This time, come to the floor. So all the way down to the belly. Just back just a little. Taking the hands next to the side ribs here. Hugging in with the forearms. With the breath here, on the inhale, roll your shoulders up, together on your back, down toward your hip bones. Exhale to release that. So just a nice little shoulder shrug with the breath. And just like with everything so far, see if you can move a little deeper after a breath or two. Let's do that once more. And then just go ahead and release and hold. So we're going to do the same thing. Hold this one and maybe add on, right? So on the inhale, roll your shoulders, curling your chest away from the floor. Ground the pelvis. Pull with the hands like you're pulling your belly button forward. And see how that feels up, frees up the space in your spine. And maybe start to press into your hands. Feel your triceps here. You can take the arms almost straight, maybe. And then gently release back down. So tons of space in the spine. We don't just jam up our back by pressing into the hands, right? So here we're going to move up like we came down. So engage your belly like crazy. Feel like you're pressing your knees into the floor as if you're going to lift your butt away from the floor, or your belly up off the floor. Press into the hands enough to bring your elbows in line with your ribs. Hover here. And then press all the way up. And let's sit back. Take a few big, full breaths. Very good. From your child's pose, let's make our way to down dog. Allow yourself to shift and wiggle however you get here. And allow yourself to begin to settle in. So being aware of your hands, pressing your chest back, feel the stretch in your shoulders and your back. Sinking your heels toward the floor, they don't have to touch. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg. Take it straight back so the hip stays square for a moment. Get that little extra stretch here. And then allow the right hip to open. Try and keep your shoulders level, bending at the knee pointed toward the ceiling. And then take your right leg straight, square your hips again. Let's go ahead and drop that foot. And switch to the second side. So lifting the left. Open the hip. And bend at the knee.
you thinking about? Straight legs, square hips, release the toes, and then drop on down. Being present in the moment, connected to the breath. Let's lift back to our down dog. We'll walk the feet forward and come to standing fold. Feet up underneath the hip bones. Make sure your toes point forward. Feel engaged. 4 corners of the feet into the floor. And then how about a little walk in place? Coming to center, bend the knees enough that your belly will touch your thighs. So a lot or a little, whatever, it doesn't matter. Keep the belly in contact with the thighs, trying to keep the knees in line, right? Sometimes they squeeze together, sometimes they slide apart and you sink through a little bit. Try and keep that alignment. And then taking the arms behind the legs, wrap around, grab the other arm, pull the belly in toward the thighs, and see if you can take your legs straighter. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe they're not quite straight. Don't worry about it. Let your head hang. Breathe. As you breathe, press your belly into your thighs. Releasing the arms. Keep the bend in the knees if you like. Taking the fingers, interlacing them behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. And yes, maybe they'll lift up off of your lower back. Don't worry if they don't. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Big full breaths here. 4 corners of the feet. Releasing the arms. Let's bend into the knees here. Hands to the thighs. We're going to lift up into chair. Hang on, of course, if you need to hang on. 4 corners of the feet. Hands can come center or extend. Keeping the tailbone tucked. Let's take another nice big breath. And then inhale as you stretch to the ceiling. And release it. All right, so I promised that I would start increasing the challenge of the sun salutes, right? But today we're going to do one last round of 3. So get prepared if you're practicing with me every Saturday morning, or if you do them on replay. There's going to be 5 instead of 3. But again, we're building towards something, and if it happens, great. And if you modify them or if you skip something, don't worry so much. Today we're going for the old standby though, so let's do this. Inhaling, the arms up. Exhale over into a fold. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhaling as you step the feet back. Let's come to plank. Remember, you can be on your knees if you like. Drop to the belly. With the inhale, roll, pull, maybe a little bit of a press. Exhale, release it, back to down dog. And then inhale, step the feet forward into fold. Come halfway up, inhale. Back over again. All the way to the ceiling, inhaling. Exhale the arms. Like that again. Inhale and lift. Exhaling into your fold. halfway up, back to plank, all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhaling forward. Halfway up. And back over. Reaching for the ceiling. Exhale at the top. And then adding on with this last one, on the inhale, sit into chair. Then take it over into fold. Halfway. Back to plank. All the way down. Cobra. And down dog. Inhaling the right foot forward, lunge. Toes to the top, back heel or knee to the mat and lift. Exhale, come on back down again, step back to down dog. Slide forward for plank. Drop to the belly. Cobra. And down dog. Left foot steps forward. Get the toes all the way up there. Heel or knee to the mat, lift. Back down again. Sliding forward. And down to the belly. Cobra. And back to down dog. Holding here, dropping down. Take a bigger break if you need a bigger break. Connect to your breath, even here. If you did drop down, go ahead and lift back to down dog. On an inhale, step the feet forward, come to fold. Halfway up with that next inhale. Back over again. Sitting into chair. And then exhale and release it all. And we're done with that. So notice if it's easier to stay present when you're moving quickly, okay? Or if that makes it harder, then you're always worried about what's next. Okay? Just see, what are your tendencies? Let's take a nice big step back with the left foot. We're gonna move into warrior two. So right toes pointing forward, left toes cut in a bit. When you bend the right knee, look for your big toe. Stack the knee and ankle. And find where that really is, right? Even in the four corners of the feet, we'll extend the arms. Nice soft gaze over the right fingertips. Let's take that right leg straight. We'll reach forward and tip over into triangle. Lean if you have to, take a block if you'd like. Belly's engaged. Hips and shoulders are open. We'll bend back into this right knee, resting the forearm on the thigh. Sink low into the hips and bring the left arm up and over the ear. Lean if you need to lean, otherwise this is just sort of a place for the arm to hang out. You can absolutely let it dangle. Try not to reach for the floor though, that's where we go wrong. Let's release that, come over into lunge. up on the back toes. Go ahead and drop the left knee and take the right leg straight. Square your hips, pull your shoulders together on your back, breathe. And then bend again. Sink low. Lift your chest. Keep the hips low, climb up on the thigh. Hanging on to the leg, pressing against it to open the chest more, using your arms, extending up, maybe together. Interlace behind the back if you like. Let's release it. Come up off the back knee. We're gonna walk our hands around into the center of a straddle. Take a second to adjust the feet. Make sure the toes point forward. You feel even on the four corners of your feet. And then just let yourself hang out for a moment, right? Just relaxed. Grab up this elbow if that's you. Maybe bend and wiggle a little bit. And then if you need to, bend at the knees. We're going to take the index and middle fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Even on the four corners, let's bend the elbows out to the sides. We're going to pull on the toes, draw a little deeper into that stretch. Let's release those toes. We're going to take the fingers again here to interlace behind the lower back. Pull the shoulders together on the back, stretching the knuckles away. Shoulders stay away from the ears. Big full breaths here. Releasing the arms back to the floor. We're going to turn the right toes in a little bit and flip the left toes to the back of the mat. Bending into the knee, lifting the upper body, warrior two-ish. So adjust your feet if you need to. Extending the arms when you're ready. Let's take that left leg straight. Reach forward and hinge over. Lean if you need. Bending back into the knees, sink into those hips. Bring the right arm over the ear. And then let's release that over into a lunge. Dropping the back knee, take the left leg straight. Ish. Set yourself up. Right? Find your alignment. Connected to the breath. Where's your mind here? Then bend back into the knee. Sink nice and low into the hips, lifting your chest. Climb up. Keep the hips really low. Open the chest. Use the arms if you want to use the arms. Make your way back up and over into your lunge. Lifting the right knee and then walking the hands back for your straddle. So hopefully your path is unobstructed to the side here. We're gonna make sure the toes point forward, stay even on the four corners of the feet while you're here. Take the hands and walk them forward. So you're gonna come up on your toes, let your hips come low, lower than you would say in a plank, right? And then walk them back. Let's do that again, come forward. Sink low. You can push up here if you want, but, and then back again. Let's go one more time. And then back. Instead of going forward, turn your fingers around to point behind. Even on the four corners of the feet, hips are gonna stay in line with the ankles here for sure. Take the hands and walk them back. So if you're just between your feet, finally, that's still good, right? Wherever you are, press down into the floor with your hands and bend your elbows and see if you can drag your belly button a little bit deeper into that stretch. You got one more breath here. Let's release that. Walk the hands around toward the right foot, lunging back to the top of the mat. We'll step forward into fold. Let's take a little bend here into the knees. With an inhale, we're going to roll the spine all the way up. So let's balance. On the mat, off the mat, near a wall, wherever you need to be. We're going to keep it pretty simple. You can add fancy stuff on to make it more challenging if you need to, of course. Okay? So kind of sticking with tree here. Take all the weight over into your right foot. We're going to lift the left knee. Open. Watch where the body starts to move off, right? Keeping the pelvis square. Bring that left foot into the right leg. So maybe at the ankle, maybe the calf, maybe the thigh. Watch the knee joint. You don't want to press on the knee joint, but press or pull really your legs toward each other. Tucking the tail, standing nice and tall, head in line. Right? If you look forward or down, it brings your head forward. We don't want that. So that hands maybe center, hips, out, balance your knee, extending up if you like. You can look up at the ceiling, you can open the arms, you can wave them in the breeze. Any little pieces. Just being aware of where you are in space. Let's take one more breath. And then release it. Second side. Same idea. All the weight left, lifting the right. Opening. Again, if you throw yourself off here, everything else is more challenging. So try and stay as aligned as if you had both feet on the floor. Press together. Tuck the tailbone, stand a little taller maybe, and then take the arms where you need to take the arms. One more nice big breath here. And then making your way back out. All right. So back to the top of your mat. Let's inhale, stretch the arms up. And take it over into fold. We're going to step back into down dog. And from down dog here, let's bring the right knee up behind the right wrist. Slide that left leg long behind. You can absolutely keep your toes tucked under, but go ahead and drop the knee to the floor. That foot can come flat too, it doesn't necessarily matter. So if this is where it needs to be, then leave it. You might be able to open the knee a little bit to the right and bring the toes forward toward the left hand. Kind of wiggle until you find it. Keeping the hips square, the shoulders back. You can stay up on your hands, or you can drop down maybe forearms all the way down, forehead to the mat, if that's you. Find the sensation here, wherever it is for you. And is that where you need to be? Sometimes the body says, oh, I can go a little deeper. Sometimes the body says, yeah, that's enough. Right? And sometimes the body says, get out of that. Take another nice big breath. And we'll gently make our way back up onto the hands. And back to down dog. Take your time. Remember, those transitions are just as important as the pose themselves. And let's go to the second side. So bring the left knee up. Stretch the right leg long. Open the knee, bring the toes forward, all the fancy stuff here. And then decide if you want to stay up or drop down. How far down do you need to adjust? Be mindful every moment. Let's take one more nice big breath here. And then we'll come back up onto the hands. Gently making your way back to down dog again. Let's drop on down to the knees. And we're going to take a wider child's pose here. So open your knees a little bit. Go ahead and set your hips back. So if you can sink your belly toward the floor. So let's go ahead and come to sit up on the heels. And we have our knees a little wider here. If you need to stay with your feet in, stay with your feet in. If you have a block and you want to sit on a block, feel free. Otherwise, see if you can open your feet enough so that your hips can be between your heels-ish, right? And again here, ideally the legs are fairly even, right? Aligned, hips, knees, ankles. And if you can sit your bottom on the floor, lovely. And if you can't, don't worry, right? You can absolutely stay up on a block here. See how close your butt is to the floor though. Just kind of gauge, it might be a football field. Not really. But be aware, right? See. Come forward, leave your shins where they are, and drop down to the belly. Press down into the floor. So this is a little bit like what we did when we were in our standing straddle. Push back up. Try not to lift your belly hang. And then sit back between the heels again. Let's do that again. Come forward. Drop down. Press down into the floor. And then push back up. And sit back between the heels. Do that one more time. Come forward. Drop down. Press down into the floor. And then push back up and sit back. So now you might just notice that it's a little bit more open, right? A little less uncomfortable, right? Or you might be a little closer to the floor back there. You may still need your block. You may still be very high, but it's incremental, right? And it's about being aware of what this is right for me. Is this where I should be? Can I adjust to make it better for me? Okay. Let's come forward. Go ahead and take a down dog. Stretch your legs. Wiggle, stretch. And then drop the knees, and we'll bring the legs around front. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take the right foot to the inside of the left leg. And then instead of having the hips square, let that right knee drop back and open a little bit. All right, so your foot may or may not touch, doesn't really matter. Find yourself upright on your pelvis. Sit nice and tall here, and we're gonna come forward into this middle space. So keeping the pelvis level on the floor, keeping the shoulders back. Think belly button to heel, rather than face to the floor. Take another nice big breath. And we're going to hinge back up. Keep the pelvis level and rotate your belly button toward the left leg. Fold over the leg. And you can use this left hand if you press into the floor a little bit to kind of rotate your upper body more square to the leg. One more nice big breath here. With the inhale, we're going to come back up again. And then extend the right leg. Wiggle around a little bit if you need. And then we're going to switch. So bring the left foot in. See if you can open up that knee a little bit. Finding upright on your pelvis. And then hinging into the center space. On the next inhale, let's come back up. And again here, rotating the belly toward the right leg, folding over the right leg. Keep the pelvis level, the shoulders down and back. Rotate around a little bit more using your arms. And then hinging back up again. Release that left leg. Maybe bounce and wiggle a little bit if that feels good.
get script in that. So here, let's take that left shin parallel to the top edge of your mat. And you can actually be at the top edge or not, it doesn't matter. Foot stays flexed, flex your right foot. Take that outer ankle bone and see if you can set it on top of the left knee. If that ain't happening, bring it in front, right? So keeping the pelvis as level as it can be, the feet flexed to protect the knees, right? And maybe the shins stack, right? Sometimes this right knee will drop to the floor, sometimes not. Sometimes your pelvis is all crazy. Try to find alignment. And if it's too much, again, come forward. That still might be a lot, right? But listen to what your body needs. What is your body telling you? Where should you be in space? Should, hate that word. So the pelvis is level, the spine is tall. You can take your hands and press them into the feet, press the feet back into the hands. Keep the chest lifted and hinge forward, belly button to the floor-ish. One more nice big breath. And we'll hinge back up. Release the legs, shake them out. But you know there's a second side, right? So let's do that. Taking the right shin parallel to the top, that foot's flexed. Right? Doesn't matter that it's on the bottom, keep that foot flexed. Flex your left foot, that outer ankle bone, not the sole of the foot to the ceiling, outer ankle bone on the knee or in front of the knee. Right? Can you see the alignment, the difference in the alignment? Right? So play with it, and it might be this for a little minute, and it might be able to change, or you might be able to hold something, and then your body says that's enough, right? Listen to what you need. Level out your pelvis, sit nice and tall through your spine, right? Work on leveling your pelvis. Hands to the soles of the feet, maybe coming forward. Find where it is today, this moment, right now. Doesn't matter what you did last week. Well, we didn't do this last week, but you get the idea. Nice, big breaths. We're going to hinge back up on an inhale and release the legs. Give them a good little wiggle. And then let's bring the soles of the feet together. Heels in toward the groin, sitting nice and tall here. Hang on to the ankles, keep the chest open, lifted, and lean back in balance. And C-curve your spine and roll on back. Leave the soles of the feet together and let them come to the floor, releasing the knees, relax them to the sides. And then bring the knees back together. Nice and easy here, draw them into the chest and up. So let's take the feet to the floor. We're going to open the arms out into a T position. And then you do what you need to do here. We're going to start with the legs over to the right. So if you want to adjust the hips, if you just want to let the legs fall or bring the knees closer to the chest, feel free to make those adjustments. And of course, once you get there, you can relax into the twist or you can work it.
And again, maybe take a little of this and a little of that. Take just a couple more breaths. With the next inhale, you're going to bring yourself back to center and then switch sides. So whatever you did on the first side, do the same on the second side. And if you do need to make adjustments once you're there, go ahead. Taking just a couple more breaths around this side. And then making your way back to the middle again. Knees back to the chest. We'll rock a little bit. And then squeeze those knees in good and tight, bringing the forehead toward the knees. Releasing it out into a full body stretch. And then releasing the stretch and finding Shavasana. And just like with everything else, find your alignment. Make sure that this is where the body wants to be today. Remember, just because you do it this way mostly, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it needs to be today. Keeping the mind present and quiet. Just give yourself a few minutes to rest here. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath. And then let it all go. Restoring small movements to your body first. Gradually moving and stretching. And then slowly making your way up to a seated position. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. And bowing to the light within. Namaste. So that's the test, right? To keep your mind where it belongs. It's not easy. It's not easy for sure. So Happy New Year, you guys. Bye-bye 2022. Holy crap. Where does time go? Where does it go? But yes, so I will see you next year. And I've got a new 5-day challenge coming up. So kind of keep that in your brain. It's a good time to reset. You know, you can reset anytime, but of course the first of the year is always the thing, right? So we'll plan one of those and have some fun tonight maybe, and see you next week. Bye. Thanks, you guys.